Shabbat Shalom Mishpacha. This is Rabbi Simon, and we begin our Sabbath lecture. But before we do, we petition and give thanks to God. Baruch Hashem. Abba, we thank you for bringing us through the week safely and securely. Abba, we thank you for feeding us, for protecting us, for safeguarding us during our travels, for providing means to travel, for providing food, shelter, and clothing. And we thank you, Abba, for all the things that are going around about in the world. All these wars that are going on, all the turmoil that's going on with earthquakes and other things, that you have protected us, that you have provided us, that you have safeguarded us. And we petition that you continue to provide for us, continue to protect us, continue to bless us, and continue to safeguard us. And we also pray for the peace of Israel and for the people of Palestine, that you may bring a firm resolution that will allow both people to coexist in peace. We thank you, we bless your holy name. Baruch Hashem. Amen. Amen. Okay, so a lot has happened since last week. Let me just give you a little brief. And although I don't want to try to scare people, this is not the intent. It's just to inform you. It's better to be informed than to be uninformed and just go around in circles and have the wrong notions of what's going on and what will happen. Excuse me. The media can create a lot of that fear. As you as I both know, we both know that the media never tells the whole truth. The media gives you half-truths, hides information, and only narrates what they are told from the higher authorities. Basically, media is controlled. Okay, and this is not just in America. This is everywhere. It's the same story everywhere. Okay, so I wrote information in my books many years ago, several years ago, more than 10 years ago, and you can acquire those books from Amazon, Lulu Press, and you can read them, and you can glean a lot of good information from there, because that information that I said in the books is now kind of it's brewing, it's showing what's going on. We are at the beginning stages of that at this point in time, and it's rather interesting. In the book, I would direct you to World War III series. There's a couple of books in there. There's one called Unmasking the End Times Beast, and there's one called Salvation of the Jews, and then there's another one after that. So whichever those you get in the series, they'll kind of give you some good information on what's happening. I don't need to repeat the same thing over and over again, because like I said last week, my aim is to better our people's lives and for them to be blessed tremendously wherever they are, for them to be fruitful in their lives and happy. That's my goal and my aim. Now, those of you who sent help for the Indian, I shouldn't say Indian, she's actually Hindu girl and her mother, I thank you for the help, and I'm still kind of raising up money for them. I have some more information regards them, that I'll be able to put the girl into a local college that teaches things, that practical things like beauty therapy and other things that women can get into easier over here. And the mother, we will be able to, once she turns up, they haven't left yet their city. Once they turn up, we'll be able to apply for jobs for her so she can get a job in the area, and then she can continue her life from there. Okay, so that's where we are. Now, a little bit of history on that family. The history on that family, and you may be shocked, but this is what actually happens over here all the time. It's not uncommon for India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, these countries, for these things to happen. It's pretty normal. There's nothing abnormal about it. Basically, her father borrowed a loan of around, let's call it $1,200. He borrowed a $1,200 loan from a rich family, and he was intent on buying some animals, like maybe calves, and maybe lambs or something like that, and he was going to sell them on one of the festivals here, make the money and give the money back. Now, the mechanics of it, or the thought process, to me is completely screwed up, because the agreement that he wrote makes no sense to me. The agreement that he wrote with them was that I will pay you your money back in whatever time it was, 1 month. If I don't pay you your money within 2 months, I will pay you double. That means it'll be $2,400, which he was never going to make, put it this way. And if I can't pay you, then they'll keep his daughter, his elder daughter, his firstborn. So his firstborn was around, let's say she's around 22, 23 years of age. So they would keep her. Now, does that sound like a agreement made by a man with the right brain in his head, or is he all screwed up? You decide on that. So that's the problem. I couldn't even work out how that man would double up his income. Maybe he would make 50%, maybe he'd make 70% of profit, maybe even 100%. Either way, he'd split up with his partner, and then the partner will take 50, he'll take 50. Means that they'll never be able to return more than the amount of money they borrowed. Now, how can you promise somebody that you'll give him double if you don't pay within a month, and you'll give him your daughter? So it's just mind-boggling how people can even make such shady deals. Anyhow, so he couldn't make the payment back. They took his daughter, and now, as far as I know, they shipped her to Afghanistan. She's in Kabul now, right close to the airport. I know because I have my inside information. So this girl is really her younger sister. So I told her, I said, before your dad sells you as well and makes a similar deal for you, I think it's best you leave that area. So that's where we are with that story. Okay, so the story with Israel and Palestine is, as you know, it's been many years since this fighting's been going on for the right of, I guess, a two-state solution, if I can call it. Either way, I personally think that until the time the Messiah comes and establish a Torah kingdom with a temple, there has to be an interim solution, and that interim solution may be a two-state solution. Christians are adamant that no, they can't have the land, it belongs to Jews and all that. No, it doesn't, because the land that the Palestinians occupy, or where the Palestinians live today, it was actually where the Philistines lived. So go check your history maps, and before you speak wisely. The sea coast land, West Bank, this I guess not so much West Bank, but especially Gaza. These areas, some of these areas were inhabited by the ancient Philistines. So if they were inhabited by the ancient Philistines, how can you make a claim that it belonged to Israel? No, it never belonged to Israel. They were never there. So, and even in the times of Egypt, when God took Israel out of Egypt and traversed the land around Saudi Arabia, even then those lands belonged to Philistines. So there can never be a claim by Israel, modern Jews today, that land belongs to them. It doesn't. So they can say whatever they like. Now, I don't care if Tom, Dick and Harry lives there, but that's a separate point. Now, if we come down from the present borders of Israel, if we came down, then yes, the borders almost deep into northern Arabia belong to Israel, And if you push up towards Iraq, or towards the right, push up northern east of Israel, then certain areas of those lands that are occupied by other countries will belong to Israel as well. Meaning that Israel's boundaries that belong to Israel are at this point occupied by other nations. So that can't be resolved until that time in the future. For that, we continue to wait. Now, but in the interim, I'm pretty sure that both people, Palestinians, the Arabs, and Jews, can live in peace based on some mutual agreement in which that should be the case. As you know, the hostilities began with the abduction and the kidnappings of over 100 people in Israel by the Palestinians, and of course the shootout and the killings of people. I'm pretty sure nobody will, in their right mind, will accept that as normal. That of course would be always classified as wrong, and for that part I think the Palestinians made a bad start. They did the wrong thing, and then they might turn around and say, well, we are occupied and we're living in a prison type situation in Gaza, surrounded by Israel, and they may say other things like that. And sure, I appreciate what they're saying. I appreciate that, but nevertheless, I still think that, in my opinion, it is wrong to go and abduct people and kill civilians who have no part to play, and children as well. So this is the problem. And the solution is not going to be a war for sure, but like I said earlier, it'll only be a temporary. Temporary means 4 to 5 years. Okay, so that's that. And in America front, remember in my books I wrote, and back then when I wrote that the UK, United Kingdom, and the US will be allies of Israel. Whatever happened, they will be allies of Israel and they'll come for their aid. And people were like, I used to speak to Christians in those days, and they'd be like, wow, we thought that the UK and we thought America would turn their back on Israel. And I said, no. According to my reading of scripture, it doesn't say that they'll turn their back. And you saw what happened. The first people to respond to Israel was America. Now we'll give you aid and we'll supply you with ammunition. Second people to respond was the UK. So the first people to send their aircraft carrier was US, and the second people to send their destroyer was the UK. So who's been proven right? Think about it. I wrote this maybe 15 years ago. So who was proven right? I was proven right, and I will always be proven right, because this is not yet the end, but we are getting there. We are going there. So that's that. The goings on of America and UK, and also on the Ukraine front, that war is still going on between Russia and Ukraine. There's no end to that as yet. There is, of course, a presidential race happening in America, where candidates from both sides are applying. I personally see the Republicans as producing the next president, and I already know who's going to be the next president, but let's not talk about it. So going forward on the Parsha front, our Parsha is this week is Bereshith chapter 6, where we speak about Noah. This is a genealogy of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generations. Noah walked with Elohim, and Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was also corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence. So Elohim looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And Elohim said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them and with the earth. And by the way, this is a chapter where God mentions 120 years. Now, a lot of people take that as the age of humanity, but it's not. The 120 years mentioned in there is posited as the time before the flood came. Now, more so, as I spoke to you many times before, and I said that humans are designed to live for 1,000 years. Okay, Methuselah was the longest living person in the Bible. I believe somewhere around 969 years. So, we as humans are designed to live a very long time. God has given us the parts, in other words, our organs. They're designed to last 1,000 years. But how long do they last for most humans? Well, with the chemical type foods that people eat and the packed meals that they eat to shorten their lives and also to quicken their death is what's the cause of it. As you know, many people don't even make to 50, and many don't even make to 70, and many don't make to 100, let alone pass 100. But I know people who are over 100 years of age. My grandfather was 110 years of age and didn't die from any particular disease. He just passed on. My family has had many people living to over 100, centurions. And so therefore I have very strong feelings that you, all of you listening, if you looked after yourself and you, doesn't mean you have to eat organic, forget about this organic nonsense. If you looked after yourself means that you made your own meals. You didn't have to go and get a packet meal from Tesco or from Walmart. And you made your own produce, meaning that you took your vegetables and whatever things you like to eat, and you made them yourself. You didn't go and find a packet in Tesco and say, oh, let me get this and put it in the oven for, 30 minutes or whatever and eat it. Don't do that. That's what will cut your life. And if you didn't, it doesn't have to be soda, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all these things. I mean, it could be other items as well that are very, very sweet that people eat. Now, I'm not talking about chocolates. Chocolates are very good for your heart, by the way. So, proven many times over. Very, very good for your heart. I'm not talking about dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is just a way to charge you more. They just charge you more money for dark chocolate. Actually, the normal chocolate is very good for your heart. Forget about dark chocolate. If you want to pay double the price, you get yourself a dark chocolate. I wouldn't. I prefer the normal chocolate, and it's very, very good for your heart. On top of that, the other thing that is very good for your arteries and to preserve life and to give you longevity is the cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper will help you with blood pressure. It will help your heart. It will open up your arteries. It will reduce cholesterol levels. Even though we do need cholesterol, by the way, we do need cholesterol in the body, so you can't go zero. Otherwise, you'll be dead. We do need cholesterol because cholesterol builds up in the arteries to protect it. When there's some damage, the cholesterol builds up in it to protect it. However, not too much over, because it will then can cause harm as well if it's too over. But there's a certain amount that is very protective and is very much needed. So you can't be zero cholesterol. On top of that, as I mentioned, longevity of your life is dependent on you. Not on God, not on the angels, on you. What decisions you make, how you eat, how you live your life is where longevity comes from. And good health also. Good health also comes from how you live. Now, of course, people may suffer from small illnesses and they can be remedied. Every illness can be remedied. But you've got to be prepared to do that. So, coming back to our Noah being righteous and Noah being perfect, blameless. So you can be blameless. You can be perfect. Of course you can. And you are. So coming back to the exercises I gave you. The exercises I gave you is I showed to you that just as God tells you many, many times in the books to keep the Sabbath. How many times does God tell you to keep the Sabbath? A lot of times He tells you to keep the Sabbath. He goes over and over into that, why you should keep the Sabbath and what is the mental, reasons for it. God does that a lot of times. So we must never take this as a negative, because this is why I said to you, the whole idea of affirmations comes from the Bible. Just where God keeps telling you, do this. He tells you 10 times, do this in different passages. And it's also because God also knows that if you keep repeating the same thing, it will become a habit. And when it becomes a habit, you will definitely have, you'll be doing those things. It'll be so good for you. So this is why I said to you, as a habit, imagine that you have $3 million. Before you go to bed, you write your 1 or your 2 or your 3 affirmations 30 times. Okay, 30 times might be too much for some people. Okay, let's call it 10 times. Just write it 10 times before you hit the bed. Even if you got to sit on your bed and do this 10 times. And if you find it hard to sit on your bed, then maybe you sit on the floor or sit on your table. So you do it 10 times. Each affirmation, you can have more than one. And you do those, and then before you go to bed, $3 million, you have a budget of $3 million. You're going to go shopping with that. And I told you that what you're going to do is 2 things. Number 1, you can buy the items you desire in your imagination, of course, and whatever that item is, iPhone, laptops, clothes, perfume, etc. And then you can also buy your property, you can also buy your car, but you must invest part of that money, maybe 70%, maybe, I think 70% is a good amount. Maybe 70% of that money you invest into whatever that generates anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 profit a month for you. That should be generating $5,000 to $10,000 a month profit for you. If you've done that, if you exercise and if you do it, then your brain, your body, this will become a habit. When it becomes a habit and you successfully do that every night, then you will produce that money. Yeah, it will come to you. And you know then what to do with it, because you already prepared beforehand what to do with it. So you'll have no problem into going into action and doing the necessary and investing majority of that money, and then also the rest of it you will, put to personal use. That's why I want you to do that. I want you to take maybe 2, maybe 3 of your affirmations that you have. I want you to write it 10 times at night right before you go to bed. That should be the last thing you do. Whatever you do before that, it's okay, but that should be the last thing you do. And if you follow that pattern, if you continue in that lifestyle, in that habit, you're going to find that your desires are now coming to pass. And when your desire comes to the 3D, then you don't need to worry about that desire. You move on to the next. Similarly, that's only as far as material object is concerned, like a house, a car. But if it's money, then you don't stop, because for money it's ongoing, so you continue with it. Similarly, we talk about BBL, birds before landing, or echo or something. I would rather you not worry about, there's a bird before landing. I saw this sign, I want to get a Ford car, and I saw a Ford car on the road. I want to get a Tesla. I saw a Tesla on the road. I would never buy a Tesla. There you go. So forget about electric vehicles. They're going to leave you stranded. So therefore, you get your car, your gas car, your petrol car, and whatever that car is, whether it's a Ford, whether it's a Mercedes, whether it's some other GM, whatever it is. So you got your car, and if you see a similar car on the road because you desire a particular car, and you see the similar car, you say, birds before landing, this is echo of my command. No, don't look at it like that. Why? Because you'll be stuck into manifesting just BBLs then. That's all you're stuck into. If you continue to see just BBL, tell yourself, BBL, bird before landing. Echo for me. I see it in the road. No. The reason why I say don't do that, because all you'll be left with is you won't be manifesting the full thing. You'll be manifesting BBLs. So to get away from that, ignore the so-called BBL and echo. Go for the kill, the thing that you desire. Hone in onto it. Focus onto it, hone in like a missile, your system should be honing in on that thing, and that's what you're going to get. So you only stop when you get that thing. Like if you want a car, then you get it, and you're sitting in front of your driveway, then you say, okay, now I've got it. That's my thing that I desired. That's how you should be. So, and that's how you should stick to it and continue with it robotically. I want you to use your affirmations robotically and set yourself slots. Like you might say, okay, I've got a free hour in the day. I'm going to set 3 20-minute slots and I'm going to just repeat my 3 different affirmations, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. If you do that as a habit, if you make that as a habit, then you're going to find that you're going to start producing a lot quicker than otherwise. A reason why a lot of people fail, because they are not doing that. That's the reason why a lot of people are failing. And they may have belief issues. Belief issues don't matter. You can have unbelief, but it will still come to pass. You will still get it, even with unbelief. So it's very important, just as God gave Noah a task. Remember, God gave Noah a task to build a boat, big ark, ship. Now, Noah didn't do it for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and then say, oh, I'm tired, I've been doing this for 4 weeks and nothing is happening. I don't see any flood. I don't see any water. So I think, it's not going to happen. And I'm not going to do this thing. I'm going to just go do something else. See, people do that. But the story of Noah tells us that he did not do it. He did not stop building the ark. What does that teach you? It teaches you consistency, constancy, discipline, habit. So we need to understand discipline. We need to understand what the task you committed to. Just as Noah was building the ark, the task that you are committed to, you must bring it to pass. You must continue to do it. You must not waver. You must not give up halfway. And you must not say, after 6 weeks of doing it, oh, I'm tired, it's not happening and maybe it's never going to come to me and I should stop. No. Or maybe I should tweak, maybe I should change my affirmation. No, leave the affirmation where it is. Continue to do the affirmation. Continue to do the robotic affirming. Continue to persist. Continue to believe. Continue to have faith in it. Continue to see the end. Means continue to see whatever you desire, you have it. And if you continue to do all of that, then yeah, sure, you're going to get it. Listen, there is a story in the Bible, and sometimes it's rather sad. It depends how you look at it. People don't look at it correctly, but it is in a way a sad story. And you might not think it's sad, but I thought it's kind of sad story. And the sad story is that remember the story of a guy by the pool. Was it the pool of Siloam? So there was a story of a pool, and let me just excuse me. There was a, let me see. Of course, there's stories in the Bible of the pool of Siloam where Jesus told a guy to go and wash his eyes, and his eyes would be healed. And so there was another pool of water in Jerusalem, and there was this guy that for 80 years of his life was just lying over there. He didn't get into the pool, and every time he wanted to get in, somebody else got in. So what does that show you? That he was, he could have got in the pool, but he didn't. I don't know who he was waiting for. So for 38 years, this man kept waiting by the pool, and he never got into the pool. So what happened is that he never, until the healing comes, until you're ready to be healed. So he wasn't, this I think is, let me see, John chapter 5, I believe. John chapter 5 is the one that talks about it. So let me read you the story. Now a certain man was there who had an infirmity 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there, Yeshua saw him lying there and knew that he already had been in that condition for a long time, he said to him, do you want to be made well? So for 38 years this man is ill. He's sitting by the pool and he doesn't get into the pool. I mean, how lame is that? How lame is that? It was a pool of Bethesda, I guess. So this to me is a lame story. I don't mean the story, I mean the man. This is a story telling the story of a lame man. A man who's so lame that he can't get into the pool. He was in that condition for so long. He was a sick man. And he said, sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up, or while I'm coming another steps down. So he goes, every time I'm trying to go in, somebody else gets in. What the hell are you doing? Why don't you just get in there? Before that somebody else goes in there. In other words, this is a classical, mystical answer to your problem. Hey, every time I want my affirmation or my desire, hey, every time I want to get my desire, somebody else gets it. Hey, I want to get that Mercedes, somebody else got it. I want to get that GM truck, somebody else got it. No, not somebody else got it. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. So a man was there for 38 years. It's not a small amount of time. Not a small amount of time. Yet he could not get into the pool on time because somebody else beat him to it. That's just, He was waiting for somebody else. Like he's saying, sir, I have no man to put me into. What do you mean you have no man? You could just crawl yourself and put yourself in. That's kind of excuses that people make. I had no one to help me. You have to help yourself. I have given you the formula. I've given you the tools. You must start to get to it. Don't just make excuses and say, oh, I had nobody to help me. No one's going to come to help you. You're going to have to help yourself because you're going to have to do what I'm telling you to do. You're going to have to do it. If you continue to do it, you're helping yourself to do it. I'm giving you the method. It's time that you do the technique. It's very simple. How hard is it to say, I have $1 million? How hard is it to say I have $1 million? And how hard is it for you to say that for 20 minutes a day or maybe 1 hour a day? Break it down into 3 chunks, 20, 20, 20. For 1 hour a day, you're going to say, I have $1 million in my bank. How hard is that? It's not very hard. If you really put your mind to it and you recited that robotically, I have $1 million in my bank, and I don't care even if you didn't believe it. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe it that is there, but it will come there. The money will get there. It doesn't matter. You don't have to take no action. What action you have to take? None. But the money will still get there. So, is it possible? Yes. Is it doable? Yes. Can I spare 1 hour of my life? Yes. Can I have that million? Yes, I can. Because if I spare that one hour of my life, I can achieve that $1 million. I can do this for a whole year. I can do this for 2 years. Yes, I can get it. So this is the can-do attitude that you must have. Can-do attitude. Then you can start thinking about the different things you can do with that $1 million. And $1 million is only the beginning for you. It can be much more than that, but at least produce $1 million, then produce a bigger amount. So I'm saying that produce a smaller amount, then produce a bigger amount. But it's not hard to say I have $1 million in my bank, whatever that bank is. I have $1 million in my Bank of America account. I have $1 million in my Chase Bank account. Whatever the bank is, attach it to the amount. You'll get it there. So don't go missing. Don't go in somebody else's account. 20 minutes. I've given you a formula. 20. 1 hour formula. Do it, and you'll get your desire. Robotically affirm it. Okay? Keep affirming it. It will come through. So with that, I'm going to say thank you for listening to me. Have a wonderful Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.